welcome to another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're jumping right into the thick of things. Picture this.
Yeah.
It's January 20th, 2025.
Okay.
And Donald Trump is being sworn in for his second term as president.
Big day.
It is.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you're probably thinking, okay, what's the music going to be like for this inauguration?
Right.
And trust me, the lineup's pretty interesting. It's raising some eyebrows.
Yeah, it's a real mix. You got some familiar faces for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's some choices that, well, let's just say, that kind of make you wonder.
What's the strategy here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are they going for with this?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not your typical,
Right.
inauguration playlist.
No.
We've got articles from CBS News and NBC Insider, and they're giving us all the juicy details.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so remember back in 2017 when it seemed like, Trump had some trouble getting big names to perform?
Yeah, it was a different time back then. The political climate was, it was really charged.
Yeah.
But this time around, it seems like there's a real, almost like a deliberate mix of artists who appeal to very specific, segments of the population.
Okay, so let's start with the main event, right?
Yeah.
The swearing-in ceremony.
You're right.
Carrie Underwood is going to be taking the stage to sing America the Beautiful.
Underwood. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
She's a country music powerhouse these days.
Huge.
And she came from American Idol, right?
Yeah.
So she has that whole all-American appeal that really resonates with a lot of people.
Exactly. She's got that crossover appeal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
She could bring in a lot of different listeners.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of familiar faces, Lee Greenwood is back with his iconic God Bless the USA.
You can pretty much guarantee that song is going to be playing at every single Trump rally.
From now on.
Yeah, from here on out. It's so closely associated with his events. It's like...
It's become almost like a second anthem.
Yeah.
At this point. Okay, now, for the national anthem, they've gone with opera singer Christopher Macchio.
Now, Macchio, this is an interesting one because he's actually performed for Trump before.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just some, random selection. There's a personal connection there.
Oh, interesting.
Makes you wonder if they're trying to create a specific, a feeling of grandeur with the opera singer.
I see what you mean. It definitely adds a layer of formality
to
the event. Okay, are you ready to hear about the lineup for the inaugural balls?
Hit me with it. This is where it gets really, interesting.
This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 balls. The Liberty Ball, the Commander-in-Chief Ball, and the Starlight Ball.
Okay.
And at the Liberty Ball, they've got Jason Aldean.
Solid country choice.
Yeah.
Appeals to that core base.
Right. Paired with, wait for it, the Village People.
Whoa. Okay, now that's a curveball.
Yeah.
You've got Aldean. He's like your classic country star. And then you have the Village People. They're known for their disco hits.
Nice.
And, a certain song that's become a bit of a Trump rally anthem, you know what I mean?
You mean YMCA?
Yeah, exactly. YMCA. I can't imagine that not getting the crowd going,
What do you make of that pairing?
It's bold. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
You've got the appeal to the more, traditional country fans with Aldean, and then this nod to, pop culture and a song that's taken on this whole new meaning in the Trump era.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're trying to bridge different worlds.
Yeah. It's like they're saying, come for the country, stay for the disco.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, but let's move on to the Commander-in-Chief Ball.
Okay.
Rascal Flatts and Parker McCollum will be taking the stage there.
More country. It really seems like they're doubling down on appealing to a certain demographic, doesn't it?
It's definitely a trend. And then we've got Gavin DeGraw at the Starlight Ball. You know, this lineup has me thinking. It's not just about the music itself, is it?
No, it's not.
It's about the image.
Right.
And the message these artists project.
Absolutely. It's about tapping into, specific cultural currents,
Right.
Think about it. The Village People, Ray Cyrus, those are names that, evoke a certain era, a certain, sense of nostalgia.
You're right. It's like they're trying to capture a feeling, like a longing for,
a simpler time.
A simpler time.
Exactly.
And that resonates with a lot of people, especially those who, I don't know, feel like things have changed too much too fast.
It's a powerful strategy playing on those emotions, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw someone like Kid Rock into the mix, who's been, very vocal in his support for Trump. It brings a whole other dimension to it, you know?
And let's not forget, the Liberty University's Praise Choir performing at the Make America Great Again Victory Rally.
Oh, right.
That's a clear message to the evangelical community.
Absolutely. It's strategic, for sure. It's reminding, that segment of voters about the values they share with the administration.
Right.
And when you put that, alongside acts like Kid Rock and the Village People, it creates this really interesting
Juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like they're saying, we're here for all of you,
right,
no matter your background, as long as you share our vision. But it's also raising some eyebrows, isn't it?
It definitely makes you wonder about the overall tone they're trying to set for, this second term.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast. Like if you think about Biden's inauguration back in 2021, which was, obviously impacted by the pandemic, but still it felt very much focused on like unity and healing.
You're right. With Lady Gaga, Jennifer Lopez, and Garth Brooks, there was this feeling of bringing the country together after a really difficult period.
Exactly. And even if you go back to Trump's first inauguration in 2017, there was a more, traditional feel to it, right?
Yeah.
With Jackie Evancho and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Yeah. So this 2025 inauguration seems to be making a very different statement.
Yeah.
Just bolder, more unconventional, and maybe even a bit divisive.
Yeah, it's definitely a shift. And it raises the question, is this, a deliberate strategy to just appeal to a specific base?
Right.
Or are they trying to project, like, a new image for this second term?
This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Okay.
We've unpacked the lineup, we've analyzed the choices, and now it's time to think about what it all means. What do you think this musical mix is telling us about the direction of Trump's second term?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. It really makes you think.
It does.
It's fascinating how much you can kind of like read into the music choices for events like these.
Right.
It's not just about like entertainment value.
No.
It's a statement.
Yeah, it's like curating a soundtrack for the next 4 years.
Right.
And based on this lineup, it seems like we might be in for a wild ride.
Right. And if you look back at some of the, the most iconic inaugurations, like Aretha Franklin singing My Country 'Tis of Thee at Obama's 2009 inauguration.
Right.
Or Beyonce performing the national anthem in 2013.
Yeah.
Those were like moments that transcended politics.
For sure.
They became part of our like collective memory.
Absolutely.
And the music choices for those events, they spoke to like this sense of hope and unity.
Unity. Yeah.
Even if just for that moment,
Right.
This time around, it feels
it's different.
Yeah. It's more about galvanizing a specific audience.
Yeah, it's like they're drawing a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Musically speaking.
Yeah. Musically speaking, yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how that, how that plays out.
Right.
Will these performances, will they create a sense of like excitement and shared purpose among Trump supporters?
Yeah.
Or will it like further alienate those who already disagree with his policies?
It's a gamble.
It is.
For sure.
But it's also a reminder that, music is never just
background noise.
Yeah, it's never just background noise.
Yeah.
It has the power to, to move us, to inspire us.
Yeah.
And
to divide us.
Yeah, and even to divide us.
Absolutely.
And in the context of, of an inauguration, it can shape the narrative.
Yeah.
Of a presidency before it even begins.
Absolutely.
So as you watch the inauguration unfold, pay attention to the music. Don't just like listen to the melodies. Think about what those choices might be telling us about, the next chapter in American history.
Because sometimes the most revealing messages aren't, they're not spoken. Yeah. They're sung.
They're sung. That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the music of Trump's second inauguration.
My pleasure.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
It has.
And we hope it's, given you some food for thought.
Yeah, something to chew on.
All right.
Keep listening. Keep questioning.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep. Yeah, something to chew on, for sure.
Definitely makes you think about, the power of music in these kinds of events.
Yeah. It's almost like they're crafting an image, right?
Totally. It's like they're sending not just with the words, but with, with the whole vibe of the music.
Exactly. And if you think about it, like music has always played a role in in shaping the narrative around presidents.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like think about Bill Clinton playing the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
On the Arsenio Hall show.
Right. Or
even like Kennedy and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, the Rat Pack, that whole era. It was all about style and sophistication.
Exactly. And it kind of like it rubbed off on Kennedy. Gave him this like cool modern image.
Yeah, and it resonated with voters.
Right. But with Trump, it's interesting because he's tapping into something different.
It's more, I don't know, it's more raw, you know? It's less about polish and more about like this kind of like down-to-earth authenticity.
Yeah. And it definitely connects with his base. But I think the question is, can he broaden that appeal?
That's the big question.
You know, with this second term.
Yeah.
Because if he wants to be remembered as a truly, unifying figure, he might need to find a way to bridge that musical gap.
Yeah, to find a sound that speaks to, to more than just his base.
Exactly. All right. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the music of Trump's second inauguration.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating look at how music can shape politics.
Definitely. And it makes you think, right?
Makes you wonder what the next 4 years will sound like.
Right. So keep your ears open and keep thinking critically about the music you hear. Because sometimes the most important messages aren't spoken, they're sung.
And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.